Can you believe since 1966, when the merger of the NFL and AFL happened, there have been multiple competitors that appeared and failed? The merger of the two leagues was out of necessity because they were directly competing with each other, and only one was going to survive. But this fact has not stopped other leagues from appearing, more specifically, spring leagues. Over the past couple of decades, we have seen several spring leagues pop up and subsequently go away. All of these leagues set out with one goal in mind. That was to be the replacement for the NFL during the offseason. The first real spring football league appeared in 1971 as the Trans-American League. Originally called the Continental Football League, it was a fall league that essentially began as the minor leagues to the NFL and AFL. As a feeder league, it was successful for several years, giving the likes of coach Bill Walsh and QB Ken Stabler an opportunity. However, after their success, they decided to take it to the next level and become an independent spring league called the Trans-American Football League. The first season would begin April 25th, finishing with a championship on June 19th, 1971, where the San Antonio Titans would come out with the title. However, this would be the first and last spring season for this league. Following the Trans-American Football League, the next major spring football league that would appear would be the USFL. Now, most of you probably have heard about the USFL due to their famous players, great success, ESPN 30 for 30s, and former President Donald Trump's involvement. The USFL was announced in May 1982 and would begin play in 1983. The league even had a TV contract with ESPN, which would help raise funds through advertising and give it the same viewing opportunities as the NFL games. The league had issues from the beginning. One example was the league had team owners pulling out. Also, other teams had issues with finding a stadium. Even with the shortcomings, the league was able to move forward. The 1983 season, with 12 teams, would have great success. Key players like Bobby Hebert, Herschel Walker, and Kelvin Bryant helped lead for a successful first season, which increased interest in the league by fans. The USFL truly gained a fan base and following during that first season, averaging around 25,000 fans a game and TV ratings around 6.1. However, with this success, there were fears teams were not making a profit. During the 1983-84 offseason, the league made a few changes. Some of these changes would be Donald Trump purchasing the New Jersey Generals, increasing the league from 12 to 18 teams, and the selling of the Denver Gold. In 1984, the league would vote to change the league to a fall schedule by 1986. This decision was done based on team owner Donald Trump pushing for a lawsuit against the NFL for TV antitrust for the fall. By 1986, the courts would rule in favor of the USFL. However, they would not receive anything for winning the case. Hence, it would cause the league to fold. Overall, for spring football, the league did have great success from 1983 to 1986. Their success mainly came from the league having some of the top college talent, was very entertaining, and utilized their differences for TV purposes. The overall success of the USFL would lead to the thought that a competing spring football league could actually have success. The NFL would take its first ever crack at spring football in 1991, where they would establish the World League of American Football, later to be called NFL Europe, after several years being in the market. The NFL had begun working on a worldwide league starting in the 1970s. However, due to international issues, it kept getting pushed back. Eventually, they would decide to do it due to growing popularity in the league overseas and seeing the success of spring football from the USFL. Due to its affiliation with the NFL, the league would already have TV contracts in the works from the beginning. The first year in the market, the league struggled and lost close to $7 million with terrible ratings. The league averaged around 26,000 fans per game and significantly more in those European stadiums. By 1995, the league decided to drop all the teams they had in North America to focus only on Europe. This was justified because there was high attendance in Europe, with the London Monarchs averaging over 45,000 fans per game. The league would continue playing spring ball until 2007, which after the season they would fold. Overall, the league was popular in Europe, mixing local players with potential NFL prospects, which would help lead to more popularity in the area. The NFL Europe League would last 15 seasons and produce players like Kurt Warner, Adam Vinatieri, Jake Delhomme, and many others. The league actually showed that a spring minor league to the NFL was actually helpful. However, due to the league losing money consistently for the NFL, that caused its closure. Many still believe if the league could have turned a profit, it would have survived. The next big spring football league that popped up during the same time as NFL Europe was the original XFL. Now, most of you probably remember the Extreme Football League that was made popular due to Vince McMahon and its connections to the WWF. The league had a contract with NBC and had several rule differences than the NFL that made it unique. There were no fair catches, they had nicknames on their jerseys, and people would battle for the ball at the start of the game. The league actually opened to a 9.5 TV rating due to the hype from Vince McMahon and his marketing team. The league would end up folding due to its lack of true excitement. Though it started with a bang, it seemed the changes couldn't keep viewers though. The league would end up folding at the end of the first season. The 50-50 partnership between the WWF and NBC seemed to be a failure. However, there are some key takeaways from the league like camera angles, new technology, and players who would end up in the NFL. Many people actually consider the league to be a technological marvel for the time, and as to what has led to the NFL viewing that we know today. After the XFL and NFL Europe failed, there seemed to be a pause in the desire to bring spring football to the masses. Though there were leagues that would play during the spring, most would be semi-pro leagues without significant backing. It wasn't until recently that we have seen a resurgence in the want for spring football. In recent years, we have seen several spring football attempts. The Alliance of American Football, or AAF, was founded on March 20th, 2018, with play beginning on February 9th, 2019. The league was scheduled to have 10 weeks with a championship finishing the season on April 27th. However, this would never happen. The league would only make it to week 8, where it would then suspend operations, eventually filing for Chapter 7 bankruptcy on April 17, 2019. The league actually had several former NFL players, coaches, and executives involved in the creation, along with Charlie Ebersol. The league also had a TV contract with CBS, TNT, and the NFL Network. The league had some positive reviews from critics and fans alike. Many fans in local areas appreciate having a football team, and in some cases, like Orlando, the team had some popularity. The league produced some notable NFL players, including Young-Hoo Koo, who scored the first points in the league. They truly just never got off to a good, consistent start. It never was able to garner the attention or fan base as other spring leagues we discussed. Even though the AAF had struggles, it did not stop other recent spring leagues to emerge. In 2020, the XFL would re-emerge, but be slightly different. Through the investment of Vince McMahon, once again the XFL would be formed. The league once again would be played in the spring with a different set of rules than the NFL. Most notably though, McMahon took a big stance on politics, not allowing players to demonstrate on the field or take knees. The league would once again also focus on mid-markets, trying to grow in areas that didn't have NFL teams or a strong college base. This version of the XFL, however, would be different from the predecessor, focused more on play and skills rather than pure entertainment factors. The league would get off to a pretty strong start in 2020 with TV contracts with ABC, ESPN, ESPN2, and others. They also would have sponsors from Gatorade and Anheuser-Busch. The Busch deal would have the unique marketing concept of a post-game seltzer chug. Some notable players include PJ Walker, Taylor Heineke, which proved the league had talent. However, due to COVID-19, the league really would never get off the ground. Though it had a unique concept and new rules, the operations would be suspended and eventually Chapter 11 bankruptcy in 2020. However, the league would gain new life when Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson would join with other investors to purchase the league for $15 million. The new goal of the league was to become an eventual development league for the NFL and function as a form of entertainment during the spring. The final spring league we will look at is the current USFL, which was established in 2021 and began playing on April 16, 2022. The league would have the backing of Brian Woods and the Fox Corporation Sports United. The league has no actual connection to the original USFL and is a new brand entirely. This league would have contracts to air games on Fox and NBC. The USFL would also have different rules than the current NFL. However, it would take many of the unique spring rules like a 25-yard kick line and AAF's 4th and 12 rule. The league is currently going into its second season in 2023. Overall, spring football has struggled to gain a proper footing in competition with the NFL. It has failed many times due to leagues and owners being greedy. Soon we'll be seeing 2 spring football leagues in 2023 with the XFL and the second season of the USFL. Do you agree with the famous Donald Trump quote, "If God wanted football in the spring, he wouldn't have created baseball"? Thank you for watching. Please like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe, and sign up for notifications.
Believable truth.